Hi everyone. This week in Level F, we will be discussing lessons 137 through 140. You will need worksheets 118 through 121. You will need the practice sheet 16, 6 geometry square panels, 1 centimeter cube, the Casio calculator, the drawing board, T-square, and tape. You'll also need a gallon, half-gallon, quart, and pint-sized containers, and a 1-cup measuring cup. Those are optional, but they do make the lesson a little bit more concrete for your student. The math card games book, and the fraction, multiplication, and basic number cards decks. Lesson 137 has a correction, so if your book was printed before December 15th, 2019, please follow the link in the description to the corrections page. In this lesson, we will be working on converting capacity units. So please read the explanations in the right-hand column for more information on this lesson. After the oral warm-up questions, you will be discussing capacity and how we measure capacity using liters, milliliters, gallons, quarts, pints, cups, and fluid ounces. Let's look at one of the problems on the worksheet.
Okay, let's go ahead and look at problem number 3. It says a half gallon of milk is how many liters? So we're going to move from a half gallon to a quart to a liter. Notice how the liter is abbreviated with a capital L, not to be confused with the number 1. Okay, so if we have a half gallon, and I'm going to abbreviate that GAL so it's not confused with gram, that equals a half gallon times how many quarts are in a gallon? There are 4 quarts in 1 gallon. And then we multiply that by how many liters? That's 0.946 liters in 1 quart. So we can cancel the gallons and the quarts. Then we simply multiply 4 times 0.946 and divide it by 2. And our answer is 1.89 liters. So there are 1.89 liters in a half gallon.
Okay, once your student has finished the worksheet, go ahead and ask the in conclusion questions. In lesson 138, we will be converting mass units. Go ahead and ask the oral warm-up questions and then discuss the different measurements of mass, such as grams, kilograms, and avoirdupois du poids, ounces. These ounces measure mass versus fluid ounces. Let's look at one of the problems on the worksheet.
Okay, in question number 3, it says how many grams are needed to equal an avoirdupois ounce or an AV ounce. So we have AV ounce, and that's going to go to pounds, and then that will go to grams. So if we have 1 AV ounce, that equals 1 AV ounce times, there's 1 pound per 16 AV ounces. And we multiply that by 453.6 grams per pound. We can eliminate these labels, the AV ounce and the pound. So we'll be left with grams. We just need to divide 453.6 grams by 16, and our answer is 28.35 grams are in an avoirdupois ounce.
So once your child has finished that worksheet, go ahead and ask the in conclusion questions. For lesson 139, we do have a correction, so please follow the link if your book was printed before April 18th of 2018. This lesson is a review and game day. Go ahead and ask the oral questions and then have your students complete the review sheet. After correcting any mistakes, play fractions in 4 operations, which is F49 in the Math Card Games book. Here are the lessons that you can review if you find that is necessary. All right, if your child missed oral question number 1, review lesson 114. Same with oral question number 2, review lesson 114. If they missed oral question number 3, review lesson 108. For the write the answers section, for number 1, review lesson 3. For number 2, review lesson 97. And for number 3, review lesson 109. For the do the calculations section, review lesson 111. For the write the SI and USC units, review lessons 131 through 138. For the greater than, less than, and equal to section, review lessons 131 through 138. For the solve the problems question number 1, review lesson 136. And for number 2, review lesson 135. Lesson 140 is a review of drawing horizontal lines with the drawing tools. The warm-up questions are on practice sheet 16. So this lesson is for students who have not used the geometric drawing tools before, or for those needing a review. However, most students will gladly do this lesson, even if they have been using the drawing tools since level C. Let's take a look at how to set up the drawing board and the worksheet for success.
Okay, so the first thing you want to do is you want to line up the paper on the drawing board using the T-square. So I am picking this horizontal line right here. You could pick this one, it doesn't really matter. And I just want to make sure that the paper is straight. Actually, I'll check at 2 different places. Great, so on this one, it lines up with the T-square, and same here. So now I can put down tape in the top right and left-hand corners. It is best if you use removable tape so that you can use it time and time again and it doesn't rip your corners. But if you just have normal tape, that's okay. I would just peel it when you're done, peel it off the board and fold it over on the back side of the paper so that it doesn't rip the corners. All right, so as I said, I used the T-square to line up the page to make sure that it was on my board straight. Now, when I'm using the T-square, I need to make sure that it's hugging the side of the board. It cannot be like this, or I will not be happy with my results. All right, so when we are working with our drawing tools, as I said, we want the T-square to be hugging the edge of the board. And I'm going to start, this says to use your drawing tools to draw all the lines, draw the rungs on the ladder with your T-square. So I'm going to start a little bit below the dot so that when I draw my line, it is actually lined up with the dot. Now notice I'm using a marker. I don't suggest that. I'm just using it for demonstration purposes. Your student should be using a very sharp pencil and have an eraser available, because erasing is just part of the process. So here I'm drawing horizontal lines, lining them up a little bit below the dot that they have given to me, so that when I draw the line, it actually intersects with that dot. Now for these figures, they say to draw a horizontal line to divide the figure in half. I just continue to do so a little bit below where I really want to draw it. And your student will have to play around with that to see how the pencil works for them. Now this one says to draw a line between 2 vertices, the points on the polygons, and that is called a diagonal. Now they want me to draw 9 horizontal diagonals, just the horizontal ones. There are more than horizontal diagonals on all of these figures, but we're just drawing the horizontal ones right now because the only drawing tool we're using is the T-square. And that's the kind of line that it can draw, a horizontal one. If I wanted to draw vertical ones, I would be using a triangle along with my t-square. So tell your student it's better to overshoot the goal than to undershoot it, because it's much harder to go back and line it up. So for here, for example, I didn't reach to the other side. So I have to go back and line it up, and my line probably won't be perfectly lined up. So there you have it. We've drawn 9 horizontal diagonals.
So as your student works his or her way through the worksheet, you'll be discussing things along the way. And let this process be relaxing and enjoyable. Most students find that these drawing exercises are really fun. So then when the worksheet is done, ask the in conclusion questions and play Ring Around the Products, which is P32 in the Math Card Games book. And we do have a vlog about this on the Right Start Math website. I will leave a link in the description for you. And that's all for this week. I hope to see you next time. Thanks so much for joining me. Bye-bye.